Hey everyone, Ethan here. Today I'm going to talk about NRTIs, which stands for nucleotide or nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. Studying this reminds me of something that I've told you all countless times now. If I haven't told you enough already, I used to do debate, right? And at least the style that in college, there were two sides, government and opposition. And the government side was actually to come to the table with a case that was prepared ahead of time, while the opposition or op side had to debate basically that case on the spot. And while it does seem like a disadvantage for op was always my favorite because I'm just be honest, for me, it was more fun to destroy than to build. Perhaps this is a symptom of my own incompetence, my own inability to build a great case. But regardless, if one side had a carefully crafted plan, my job was simple. I was like a wrecking ball. I would come in to obliterate. Or if that wasn't advisable, I'd be like the surgeon coming to make one precise cut on a key argument to render it useless. Unfortunately, debate is nowhere near as exciting as a wrecking ball, or is it as intense as surgery? I use metaphors to simply dramatize what is essentially people talking at, not with one another, but you get the idea. I tell you this because I feel like the mechanism of NRTIs and perhaps drug development as a whole relies on this basic intellectual approach of building a great op case, which is understanding a pathogen or disease process, identifying targets, and then trying to gum up the works. So on that note, let's talk about how NRTIs gum up the works of HIV or HBV, but specifically we're going to focus on HIV here. What am I going to blab about today? Quick facts on these drugs, mechanism of action, indications, and then toxicities. Let's start with some quick facts. Examples of NRTI drugs include zidovudine. Apologies if I mispronounce anything today in advance, which abbreviated AZT, and tenofovir alafenamide, or TAF. These are prodrugs that inhibit reverse transcriptase to stop viral replication. They're used in HIV-1 and HBV treatment, and their toxicities are mainly mitochondrial, but it depends on the individual drug within the class, though. Let's talk about the mechanism of action. Before we actually delve into the drug itself, I want to talk about its target. In this case, I'm going to focus on HIV. I said it does work against HBV, but I'm going to focus on HIV. So we want to figure out how to go up the works of HIV. Just like building an op case, we need to understand our opponent, understand the case at hand to target specific things to best destroy it. So in a nutshell, and this is a vast oversimplification, I bet my virology professors would strangle me for this. The HIV life cycle is as follows, right? The HIV virion virus is able to fuse the cellular membrane and inject its components, including viral RNA and viral enzymes, including reverse transcriptase. The viral RNA is reverse transcribed into viral DNA, which is then integrated into cellular DNA, then transcribed, then translated to make viral products to continue the cycle again. This sort of explains the name NRTI's nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, and that we're targeting a key step in this viral replication or viral life cycle, which is the reverse transcription. If an NRTA is able to stop reverse transcription, we're able to stop the creation of viral DNA, which means you can't integrate, which means you can't make more virus, which is then going to be able to stop viral replication. So now let's actually talk about the drug and its specific target. On the left, we have an NRTI, zidovudine, and on the right, we have its target, the HIV-1 reverse transcriptase. Zidovudine, as the name of the drug class NRTI, nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor, implies, is an analog of a nucleoside, in this case, thymidine. But in this base form, it's not actually, in its base form, in its ingested form, it's a prodrug. So it's not actually an analog initially. It has to be phosphorylated by cellular enzymes into an active form. Once phosphorylated, reverse transcriptase, right, it's going to have to take up nucleosides in order to make its new DNA strand, right? So it should want to take thymidine, but because zidovudine is an analog, the NRTI can be uptaken by reverse transcriptase as it turns viral RNA into viral DNA. And because it's an analog, everything seems fine. Reverse transcriptase thinks it's fine, right? However, because NRTIs lack a 3' hydroxyl compared to their corresponding nucleoside, the emerging product DNA strand from the reverse transcriptase enzyme cannot form 3' to 5' phosphodiester bonds like a normal strand of DNA. And this failure to form phosphodiester bonds effectively inhibits the synthesis of competent DNA, thereby inhibiting viral replication. I personally like to think this process of creating new DNA like chain building, and especially when it comes to the role of NRTIs in affecting DNA synthesis. When you're in a factory making chains, I'm no chain expert, but I don't think you can easily distinguish visually which is a weak link in a chain, right? It's just weaker based on some kind of internal defect, right? In the same way, it's not easy for the reverse transcriptase to distinguish zidovudine from a normal nucleoside. However, once you build your chain with a weak link inside, that individual weak link weakens the entire chain in the same way that incorporating a single NRTI nucleoside analog destabilizes the entire DNA strand. So again, NRTIs are like adding weak links to the DNA chain. You're weakening and destabilizing the chain by mimicking a normal nucleoside. Indications, HIV and HBV. Essentially, the HIV treatment guidelines state under federal guidelines so that you can have, actually very commonly have some kind of NRTI in an anti-HIV retroviral regimen. Usually they involve 2, 3, or 4 agents, and one example includes bictegravir with TAF, which TAF is an NRTI, just a reminder, as well as emtricitabine. So again, NRTIs are very critical parts usually of these HIV treatment regimens. Additionally, NRTIs have been used as a part of post-exposure prophylaxis against HIV. So after being exposed to HIV, before you actually develop acute HIV, you can use these NRTIs as a part of a regimen to treat and hopefully prevent HIV. Also, NRTIs can be used in HBV treatment because the HBV virus also uses reverse transcriptase. Now let's talk about toxicity, and mainly it's mitochondrial. What does that really mean? Remember that NRTIs are nucleoside analogs, and they do have like 100-fold or something greater affinity for HIV's reverse transcriptase, which is great because we want to destabilize the HIV viral DNA. However, they are nucleoside analogs, which means that they are theoretically analogs of human nucleosides and could be taken up by human polymerases, which is exactly what causes the toxicity. After being phosphorylated, these NRTIs can be uptaken by mitochondrial polymerases or human polymerases. And one of the big toxicities in the mitochondria that can result from the mitochondrial toxicity is myopathy and neuropathy. Generally, though, again, the toxicity is limited by the fact that there's so much more affinity for the retroviral reverse transcriptase enzyme. However, it's still possible that these NRTIs can be uptaken by human polymerases. And in the same way that that would destabilize the viral DNA, it can destabilize our own DNA, which obviously is not a good thing. Again, just like the chain, right? We're putting weak links into our own DNA chains, which is not good, by using NRTIs in our own polymerases. So what did I talk about today? Examples of NRTIs include zidovudine, AZT, tenofovir, alafenamide, TAF. They're prodrugs that inhibit reverse transcriptase to stop viral replication. They're used in HIV-1 and HBV treatment, and they have mitochondrial toxicity because these NRTIs can be, unfortunately, uptaken by our own polymerases. But it really depends on the individual drug, though. It's hard to be talking hard and fast about the entire drug class. So yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today. Here are my sources. I hope this was at least a little bit useful, a little bit fun perhaps. Wish you all the best. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.